Hello everyone, this is Elias5891. Welcome to another KTANE module tutorial. This time we are going over one that many people feared when it first came out. This is laundry. This is one with quite a large manual page, but it's not so bad. And as a side note, you'll notice if you look at the manual on the third page, there's this little laundry symbol reference. You'll notice I have that on screen here in the middle. I'm going to leave that up for the whole time, just so it's always apparent, because we're going to talk about it as we go. Now this is a module that is very, very edge work heavy. It actually also cares about how many modules we have. So let's get all the information we need. We have 3 batteries in 2 holders. We have a lit NSA and a serial port. And my serial number is Golf 64DV1. Oops. Golf 6. Really? Let's try that one more time. Golf 64DV1, 3 batteries, 2 holders, lit NSA, and serial port. Correct. Now you'll notice that all of these look the same. And let's take a moment to look at what options we have on this module. There's this, which is kind of your submit button. You put a coin in the machine, and that's how you check your answer. You've got this first thing, which is a set of wash symbols. If you spin the dial, you'll notice there's different values pop up or different pictures. And if you look at that laundry symbol reference, these icons right here as well as this one are the ones we care about. These are the ones we're going to see. These are on the module itself. These actually will also appear in the manual. So this whole section here is wash instructions. Then we have the dry section. That would be all of these symbols. We have ironing, which I can scroll through those, and they've got instructions. There's not a lot. Those instructions match up to the next set of symbols, these 6, but notice the words on my module. We'll keep that in mind. And then this last section is your special instructions. Again, you'll notice it's all words. And that relates to this final section of symbols here. A lot of symbols, but you're not going to need all of them. And you're not going to need very many of them at all on a single module. So let's scroll up, see what we do with this. So for this module, we are going to be finding out these things: clothing items, item material, and item color. And as you'll notice, there's little charts for each of them, and these charts are numbered 0 through 5. So there's 6 items in each one. As we do the calculations that this prompts us for, it may give us a value outside of the range 0 to 5. If it does, as it says here, you're going to add or subtract 6, whichever you need to do, until you get something between 0 and 5 inclusive. So what are we actually calculating? Well, for the clothing item, that is determined by the number of unsolved modules, and we didn't actually jot that down, but this has 11 modules. I don't have a ton of space. There, we've got 11 modules. There, that fits everything on there. So the clothing item is the number of unsolved modules, in this case that's 11, plus the number of indicators, which is 1 in this case. That gives us 12. but 12 is not in the range of 0 to 5, so we need to subtract 6. Gives us 6. Still not low enough, so we subtract 6 again. That gives us 0. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Clothing item, 0. The item material is determined by the number of ports, that was 1, plus the number of solved modules, 0 currently, minus the number of holders, that's 2. That gives me -1. It's outside the range. We need to add 6. That's going to give us 5. So our item material is going to be 5. Lastly, the item color. That is determined by the last digit of the serial number. In this case, that's a 1, plus the number of batteries, which is 3. That gives us 4. 4 is this for the color. So those are my 3 calculations that I need to do. That's got me what I need. So let's clear that for a second, and let's actually jot down what we have here. But let's look here and see what we're actually going to need, because there's washing, drying, ironing, special. There's instructions for everything. Each item, each clothing item, clothing material, clothing color has symbols or words for all 4 of those. But per this part of the manual, for the material, we're gonna get the washing instructions from the material. We're going to get the drying instructions from the color, and we're going to get ironing and special instructions from the item type, the item clothing item. So let's see what we have for those 3 things. For the material, clothing material, we want the wash information. So this is leather, and the washing instruction is do not wash. Drying is based on color, so let's hop to the color part. We have, clouded pearl is my color, and my drying instructions is low heat. And then for my item, which is a corset, I'm going to get my ironing instructions, 2 dots, and my special instruction, which is a triangle, up. Empty, triangle, pointing up. Yeah, that scrolls off screen, but we will clarify that in a second. So that gives me my base, maybe, answer. But this module also has override rules. We're going to go through the override rules, top to bottom. If they apply, then they're going to change one of the 4 attributes we found, either the wash, the dry, or the iron, or the special instructions. If they do change something, that thing is locked down and cannot change from a later instruction. With the sole exception of this last rule, which I'm going to go over first. This is, a lot of people call this the unicorn. If there are exactly 4 batteries in 2 holders and a lit bob, which we had 3 batteries and a lit NSA, so we didn't hit that. But if that is ever the case, then you ignore every other rule on this manual. Bob did all the work. You just put the coin in, you're done. I personally have not had it come up when I've diffused, but I have seen it happen. It does occur, but it's a bit of a rarity. That's your, personally I think that's your best solution because it's your quickest. But otherwise, let's go through these rules. If the color is clouded pearl, hey look, the color is clouded pearl. That's why I wrote down what it was. Always use non-chlorine bleach. Side note, non-chlorine bleach is one of our special instructions. So this empty triangle bit doesn't even matter. Non-chlorine bleach. That's our actual special instruction we're going to follow. And that's locked down. We're not going to change that. And yes, I know it's off screen. We'll fix it when we get there. If the item is made out of leather, well, that's also true. or the color is jade cluster, which it wasn't. It can't go above 120F. To be safe, always wash at 80F. So instead of washing it do not wash, we're going to wash it at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. If the item is a corset, wow, we're hitting every one of these. This is awesome. It is a corset. Then use special instructions based on the material. Problem is we've already changed our special instructions because of the color, so we can't change them again. Now if we did, we'd change them based on the material. So we'd go look at the material special instructions, which is a P with a circle, which means something. Any solvent but petroleum, I think. It's on the little chart here. P is any solvent except tetra. I can't pronounce that. Any solvent but tetra. But we've already changed the special, so that doesn't apply in this case. If the material is wool or the color is star lemon quartz. Leather and cladded pearl. No. If the leather of the clothing material matches a letter in the serial code, or the serial number. Letter of the clothing material, leather, matches a letter in the serial. Leather. Doesn't apply. And Bob. So these are our final instructions. We're going to wash it at 80F. We're going to dry it on low heat. We're going to iron it on 2 dot. And our special instruction was non-chlorine bleach. So that's what we got as our final rules. So now we need to convey that to our diffuser, but we want to make sure we do it in a way that's consistent with what he sees. So remember earlier I said that the wash and we looked at it, and the wash and the dry are symbolic, those are symbols, whereas ironing and special instructions are words. So this is not a symbol, it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's look at the symbols. I'm going to scroll to them here so I can highlight them. We're looking for the one that's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And if we look here, that's this one. And that's a basket with 30 degrees in it. So that's how we're going to describe it. So we're going to wash on basket with 30 degrees. Most people just say 30-degree wash, but we'll be a little more descriptive because this is our first go. Dry cycle is low heat, but we need a symbol for that. So we look. Low heat is, and we can kind of look at the other options to see what we need to say. A circle with 1 dot. So low heat is a circle with 1 dot. Ironing is 2 dot, but ironing, now we're getting to actually needing words. So we're going to see, what is 2 dot for ironing? It's either 150 degrees Celsius or 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you've done this module enough, you'll know that only one of those appear, and it's always the 300 degrees Fahrenheit. But we'll jot them both down because the first couple times you do this, you're not going to know that. So 300 degrees Celsius or 150 degrees Celsius or 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And the special rule is non-chlorine bleach. That's already in words, so we can leave that alone. So, as the expert, we're going to tell our diffuser, okay, wash at 30 degrees, basket with 30 degrees. So he's going to flip through, basket, 30 degrees. Next, zoom in on this so we can see that a little more clearly, see all the symbols a little better. So we're going to wash on 30 degrees. Dry, circle with a dot. Circle with a dot. Ironing, we're going to iron at 150C or 300F. 300F. And special instructions is non-chlorine bleach. No chlorine. We put the coin in, and it's green. Easy peasy. Well, doable. If we look at this one, however, you might think, oh, well, the answer was 30, 1 dot, 300, no chlorine. That's not correct. Notice it gives you an X, you still hear the sound, but it doesn't actually give you any indication what was wrong. And the reason that's wrong is, remember, our calculations involved needing to know the number of unsolved modules and the number of solved modules. So now that we've done one laundry, we have one more solved and one less unsolved, so those calculations are going to come out differently. That makes this one, that adds to one of the tricky factors about this module. If you give it, say you got multiple experts, you give this to an expert, you give another expert some stuff, you get maybe 3-4 more answers from them, you better hope that first expert accounted for that. A lot of times I will see, if say maybe you got 7 or 8 modules, you might plan it to be your 5th or 6th, kind of toward the end. If you get your answer early, that's fine. You can kind of wait to put it in. If you get it a little closer to time, that's fine. It's better than assuming, okay, well, I'm going to do this assuming there's no completed modules. Then if other people start solving modules, they've just got to hang on to those answers. They can't finish them. It builds up. And there's a good chance that at some point you're going to forget or accidentally finish one early, and then you've got a problem. Having said that, remember that these are essentially modulo 6 calculations. We're going to add or subtract 6 to get within a certain range. So this one that I completed with 0 unsolved, or 0 solved and 11 unsolved, if I do 6 modules total, then when I add my number of solved modules, I'm going to add, instead of adding 0 at this step, I'm going to add 6. But that's going to push me enough that I have to subtract 6 to get back to where I was, which is the rule if you go too high. So my solution is going to be the same for this rule. Likewise, my unsolved one is going to drop by 6, so I'll need to add 6 and my final calculation step to get back to where I was. So if you, say, decide to do it for 0 solved modules, that's the same solution as if you do it for 6 of them solved, or 12 of them solved, or 18 of them solved. So it's important to plan accordingly. Like I said, most people, when they're new to it, I see them plan to do it pretty late. With people who have gotten pretty quick at it, they'll usually solve it for 1 or 2. And if other people get done with too many, then they'll just say solve it for 7 or 8, which is the same as 1 or 2, or a little further down the line. But having done that, let's go over one more together. And we'll get a new bomb, so we've got different edge work. And we'll see that as intimidating as this is, it's not too bad. And I'm not going to write down the edge work, I'm just going to work with it. So, boop. For the clothing item, it is the number of unsolved modules, that's 11, plus the total number of indicators, 2, that's 2. That's 13, too high, so we subtract 6, which is 7. Still too high, so we subtract 6, that's 1. For the material, that's the number of ports, 1, plus the number of solved modules, that's 0, minus the number of holders, that's 1. That gives me 0. For the color, that's the last digit of the serial number. That's a 1. Plus the number of batteries, which is also 1. And that gives me 2. So, let us see here. That is item 1, material 0, and color 2. And let's jot down this reminder again. Washing is based on material, drying is based on color, ironing and special rules are based on item. So, for the material, our wash instructions are 50C. This is polyester. Polyester. Drying is based on our color. Our color is Sapphire Springs. And that gives us our drying instructions of tumble dry. Tumble dry. Our ironing is based on the item, as is our special. Our item is a shirt, which is going to give us ironing instructions of no steam, and special instructions of no tetrachloroethylene. No tetra. Well, let's look through the special rules. Bob does not apply because we didn't have a Bob indicator. If the color is clouded pearl, it is not. It is Sapphire Springs. If the item is made of leather, it's polyester, so no. Or jade cluster, no, it's Sapphire Springs, so no, that doesn't apply. If it's a corset or made of corduroy, no, it's a shirt and it's polyester, not corduroy. If the material is wool, no, polyester. Or star lemon quartz, no, Sapphire Springs, dry with high heat. If the leather of the clothing material matches a letter in the serial number. The clothing material is polyester, so we're trying to match an H, an I, or a V. Polyester. None of those match, so that rule doesn't apply. So we have no override rules. So our solution for any of these, really, we're going to wash at 50C, which let's double check our list and make sure that 50C is basket with 50. So we're going to wash at 50. Wash at 50. We're going to tumble dry, and that's picture because it's drying. Tumble dry is a square with a circle. That's your initial state. We're going to ironing rule is no steam. And special rule is no tetra blah 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 blah. No it doesn't even fit it on the module. No tetrachlor, and it gives up. And there we have a laundry. Truthfully, when I did this module initially, I did kind of take this part of the back page with the symbol, the laundry symbol reference part here, and I kept that separate, and I kind of referenced it, especially as I was giving out my solution to the diffuser. So I would probably suggest either if you have an ability to have this part separate from the rest of the manual, or an extra copy of that separate from the manual, so you can reference the rest of it without having to flip back and forth to this back page. But anyway, that is the laundry module. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, as always, please leave them down below in the comment section. In the meanwhile, let's test and see if I can blow us up. Let's change this to a wrong answer. Huh. It doesn't care. This one will. Alright guys, this has been Eliott. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and don't explode.